In this video, we're going to go through a very specific type of binomial expansion question, and what makes this different to most questions is this part B of the question, where you actually have to multiply at one stage. So just before we move on, this is the equation that you use whenever there's a positive power, and that's a positive integer power, by the way. If you have a fractional power like a power of 5 over 2, or a negative power like minus 2, or even a negative fractional power, the whole equation for the binomial expansion is completely different, but that's more on the year 2 A-level math side of things. This, what we're doing now, is year 1 A-level maths, where there's a positive integer power. So relating what we're given in the equation to the question, we see that a is equal to 1, b is equal to the whole of the x term, which is minus 2x. Be careful of the minus, you do have to take into account. N is the power of 5. Now, I only included the first 3 terms of this expression. Sorry, that's supposed to be n choose 2, by the way. And that's because it's only asked for the first 3 terms. So putting it into the first term, we have 5 choose 2 multiplied by a, which is 1, all to the power of n, which again, oh wait, sorry, why am I writing choose 2? Sorry, there's so many numbers, you have to be very careful not to mess up just like I did. So 1 to the power of 5 multiplied by b, which is minus 2x, all to the power of 0. That will get you the first term. Let's write the rest of it out before actually calculating it. So n choose 1 in this case is 5 choose 1 because n is 5 for our question. A is still 1. N minus 1 is 5 take away 1, which is 4. And then multiplied by b, which is minus 2x, all to the power of 1. And then to get to the last term, you do 5 choose 2 multiplied by a again, which is 1 to the power of n minus 2 this time. 5 take away 2 is 3. All multiplied by b squared, which is minus 2x, all squared. Let's do that on a calculator, by the way. So you might have noticed there's 2 ways of writing this. There's 5 choose 0, just like I wrote here, or there's 5 choose 0, whichever way you prefer, honestly. I wrote it both ways, but yeah. 5 choose 0, to get to that on my calculator, I write 5, shift, and then the divide button, and then 0. It should be the same on yours, and you'll get that this is 1. 1 to the power of 5 is 1, so you multiply by 1, and anything to the power of 0 is also 1. That gets you that the first term is 1. Moving on to the second term, let's first do 5 choose 1 on our calculators. So 5 shift divide 1. That'll get you a number 5. 1 to the power of 4 is 1. Minus 2x to the power of 1 is times minus 2x. 5 times minus 2 is minus 10, so that tells you that the second term is actually just minus 10x. Moving on to the third term, 5 choose 2 now. I believe it's 10, but let's just double check. Yeah, it's 10. 1 to the power of 3 is just going to be 1 again. And then minus 2x all squared. Be careful of this, by the way, because a lot of students just write this as minus 2x squared. But actually, you're multiplying minus 2x by itself. Minus 2 times minus 2 is positive 4. And then x times x is x squared. 10 times 4 is 4e, so that's plus 40x squared. And then we write plus ellipses, because there's a lot more that we're not taking into account. We're only taking into account the first 3 terms. Moving on to part B of this question now. I'll change the pen color actually. Let's choose dark green. It's asked you to find the first 3 terms in ascending powers of x of this expansion here. How you do that is you actually use the current expansion that you found and you replace 1 minus 2x to the power of 5 with that expansion, and you multiply that by 1 plus x. So we write 1 plus x multiplied by everything that we found so far for the expansion. 1 minus 10x plus 40x squared. The reason we don't have to find the rest of the terms is because expanding this out will give you all the terms that are x squared or less than x squared. So as in the constant term, the x term, and the x squared term, which make up the first 3 terms of the expansion anyways. So 1 times 1 is 1, 1 times minus 10x is minus 10x, 1 times 40x squared is plus 40x squared, x times 1 is plus 1x, x times minus 10x is minus 10x squared, and x times 40x squared is 40x cubed, but you don't need to take into account of that because that will get you to the 4th term actually. So once you reach this stage, we actually just want to simplify honestly, and that gets you the answer. 40x squared take away 10x squared is 30x squared, minus 10x plus x is minus 9x, and then there's a plus 1 at the end. And that's your answer to part B. Hopefully that all made sense. This is a very specific type of question that has popped up in exams quite a lot, and yeah, hopefully that helped. Be sure to like the video if it did help and subscribe.